Are there strange connections in Culpeper? Where is Culpeper? It's located in Virginia. I was introduced to this area while researching the finders, and all of my research indicates yes, there are strange connections. Coincidence? My research into the finders started with Marion Petty, the leader, so to speak, of this group. He was also known as the game caller, the pathfinder, the student, and the stroller. Marion Petty was the key figure involved with the finders, and they were located in Culpeper, Virginia. Located on almost 600 acres that Charles E. Marsh, one of Petty's mentors, purchased for him. His association with the finders was also his association with the CIA. This led to his part in various MKUltra projects and sub-projects. How the public became aware of the finders is another story that began with child abuse allegations in Tallahassee, Florida. According to a report by Ted Gunderson, page 79 of this report that I am quoting from, quote, "I have made 6 complaints to the FBI demanding an investigation of the finders and the international trafficking of children who I believe have been kidnapped or obtained through subterfuge, orphanages, and an agency known as Child Protective Services, but the FBI refused to contact me," close quote. This report goes on to say that there were complaints from airline employees stating that hundreds of children were being flown from Denver, Colorado, and Los Angeles, California, to Paris, France. There was also a named witness who told Mr. Gunderson that there were, quote, "children being auctioned outside Las Vegas, Nevada, and Toronto, Canada, and they were auctioned for an upwards of $50,000, close quote. For those who are not familiar, Ted Gunderson was former FBI director over Los Angeles, California, whose death fell under mysterious circumstances. Furthermore, noteworthy about Mr. Gunderson, quote, "he also investigated a child molestation trial in Manhattan Beach, California. In a 1995 conference in Dallas, Gunderson warned about the supposed proliferation of secret occultist groups and the danger posed by the New World Order, an alleged shadow government that would be controlling the United States government. He also claimed that a slave auction in which children were sold by Saudi agents to men had been held in Las Vegas, that 4,000 ritual human sacrifices are performed in New York City every year, and that the 1995 bombings of the Murrah Federal Building in Oklahoma City was carried out by the U.S. government. Gunderson believed that in the United States there is a secret widespread network of groups who kidnap children and infants and subject them to ritual abuse and subsequent human sacrifice. And that is according to wikipedia.org under Ted Gunderson. The fact that Mr. Gunderson noted that there was a slave auction of children being sold by Saudi agents to men in the United States being held in Las Vegas, Nevada, brings me to a pause, considering what information we have learned, especially about Saudi agents in Las Vegas. Do you recall the shooting in Vegas? Do you recall one of the owners of a casino there being from Saudi Arabia? A prince, no less? Back to the finders. Mr. Gunderson definitely made the connection between the finders, the Franklin cover-up, and international child trafficking. So much so that he went on to say about the finders, quote, "It has top clearance and protection in its assigned task of kidnapping and torture programming young children throughout the U.S. Members are specially trained government kidnappers." Close quote. Why would the finders have top clearance and protection? Unless they were doing something which required this. And what could possibly require this other than what is noted in that report about child trafficking? This article states, quote, "A report by Customs Special Agent Ramon Martinez claimed that documents found at the finder's property reveal detailed instructions for obtaining children for unspecified purposes." The instructions included the impregnation of female members of the community known as the finders, purchasing children, trading, and kidnapping. One telefax specifically ordered the purchase of 2 children in Hong Kong to be arranged through a contact in the Chinese embassy there. Close quote. Why would this group, the finders, have these kind of documents? Documents with specifically detailed instructions for international child trafficking, unless they were involved in international child trafficking. Interesting to note in that article was the new investigation of the finders in 1993, initiated by the Justice Department. This investigation brought to light the CIA admitting to, quote, "owning the finders organization as a front for a domestic computer training operation called Future Enterprises that had gone bad," close quote. The article also indicates or implicates Culpeper. Quote, "Travelers arrive at Finders headquarters in Culpeper, Virginia, an hour and a half northwest of Washington, D.C., via State Route 666. Close quote. You literally can't make this stuff up. Route 666? Surprised? Me neither. An excerpt from one of the only interviews Mr. Petty gave, dated from 1998. It includes information I just mentioned, but this interview tells us the finders began in the 1930s and 40s in Washington, D.C. Mr. Petty reiterates the open house policy he has for members of his group and the length of relationship he has with certain members, that being over 25 years, which isn't a short amount of time, is it? Mr. Petty acknowledged another group he kept called the Free State, and it was known worldwide and was also located in Virginia, about 20 miles from Culpeper. Here is where the lines start crossing, so to speak, in Culpeper. Quoting Mr. Petty from this article, quote, "A man named Gottlieb, have you ever heard of him? A musician? He kept open house like that, and the government came out and closed him down. But the local authorities let me keep it going up there." Close quote. Interesting that Mr. Petty specifically mentions Gottlieb in his interview. Sidney Gottlieb, for those not familiar with him, began his career in the CIA in 1951. According to Wikipedia, quote, "As a poison expert, he headed the chemical division of the TSS, or Technical Services Staff. Gottlieb became known as the Black Sorcerer and the Dirty Trickster. He supervised preparations of lethal poisons and drug experiments in mind control. In April 1953, Gottlieb became head of the secret Project MKUltra, which was activated on the order of the CIA director Allen Dulles. In this capacity, he administered LSD and other hallucinogenic drugs to unwitting subjects and financed psychiatric research and development of techniques that would crush the human psyche to the point that it would admit anything. He sponsored physicians such as Ewan Cameron and Harris Isbell in controversial psychiatric research, including non-consensual human experiments." Close quote. Now I'm beginning to see the similarities in these two men and why they would be associated with each other. They were both in the same line of work and most assuredly worked together in the CIA. Their years in the CIA overlap each other, meaning they were working there during the same time frame. Wikipedia seems to confirm this association. Quote, "Gottlieb retired from the CIA in 1972, saying that he did not believe his work had been effective. Visited in retirement by the son of his late colleague, Frank Olson, he was residing in an ecologically correct home in Culpeper, Virginia. Close quote. Gottlieb retired to Culpeper, Virginia. Isn't it interesting that these two men, who were connected to the CIA through the MKUltra mind control projects and sub-projects, both resided during the same time frame in Culpeper, Virginia? Is that a coincidence? The Wikipedia article continues, quote, Gottlieb was the liaison to the military subcontractor Lockheed. In 1953, he procured a safe house for the Lockheed Aeronautics Service Division with an easy and exclusive egress, close quote. What is a safe house? According to the dictionary, the definition is, quote, a secret place for sanctuary or suitable to hide people from the law, hostile actors or actions, or from retribution, threats, or perceived danger. It may also be a metaphor, close quote. How ironic the definition is, considering who Gottlieb was and what he was involved in. The next question is why? Why would the work you do involve procuring safe houses unless you were involved in the mobility of people? Mobility of people as in trafficking?